The last thing you want to do is get really excited about a project, spend money on the yarn, get halfway through it, and chuck it in the PhD pile because it was just plain boring to crochet. If you find yourself getting bored with projects, it's probably because they aren't challenging or interesting enough. What you need is a project that has the perfect blend of challenge meets interesting meets, oh hey, I can still work on this and watch my favorite TV show. I believe this shawl can do just that. So what is it about this shawl that makes me believe it won't end up in your PhD pile? The shape. You see, I actually set out to create a shawl that matched the crescent shape of this knitted shawl, using cleverly placed increases and decreases, only I completely missed the mark and made something even more interesting. You see, it starts off like a typical crescent, but then swirls in the opposite direction, so it's shaped more like an S. It's still the result of strategically placed increases and decreases, but not quite what you'd expect for a crescent shape, and that's what makes it interesting. You could use a variety of yarns for this project because it's pretty versatile, but I recommend the same yarn from that crescent knit shawl because, well, the colors are gorgeous, but mainly because it works up fast. This colorway is called pink/silver, and they have many others to choose from if this one isn't quite what you like. First things first, start off with a slip knot and 2 chains. Then find the second chain from the hook and single crochet there. Chain 1 and turn, and make 2 single crochets through the back loop only of that stitch. Chain 1 and turn again, and we're not counting these chains as a stitch. Now a quick note here for your sanity. Every stitch of this shawl is worked in the back loop only, so go ahead and commit that one to memory. This technique is responsible for that nice ridged texture and also builds in some stretch. And to get right to it, I'm sure you don't want to hear me say through the back loop only a million times in this short video, so I'll spare you. Just know that from here on out, all your stitches are worked in the back loop only. Alright, make a single crochet in each stitch. Chain 1 and turn. Single crochet in the first stitch, and make 3 single crochets in the last stitch. We have 4 stitches now, so chain 1 and turn, and single crochet in every stitch. Chain 1, turn again, and make a single crochet in each stitch to the last. And finally, make 3 single crochets in the last stitch to bring up your stitch count to 6. Chain 1 and turn again. Make a single crochet in every stitch. I know this is total rapid fire here. These first several rows are quick and to the point, but we're almost to the repeat. So in order for it to lean to one side, like a traditional crescent, you have to construct a row that decreases on one side and increases on the other. The decrease starts the lean one direction, and the increase makes it continue to lean in the same direction at the other end of that row. But you also need it to grow overall so the shawl gets bigger. So the stitch count must net positive. In other words, you need more increases than you have decreases so they don't cancel each other out. That's the basis of our repeat for this increasing section of the shawl, and it starts with row 8. Make sure you flipped your work from the last row and work a single crochet 2 together, again in the back loop only. This is your decrease to start things off. Then work a single crochet in each stitch to the last. And make 3 single crochets in the last stitch. Chain 1 and turn, and make a single crochet in every stitch. And by the way, if you're wondering where on earth you can find the pattern because you need it to follow along, just check the description below. You can view it completely free on my website, or if you prefer to have a copy in hand to print or save for later, you can get the PDF from my shop. There are links to both options, so you can do what works best for you. Increasing by 1 stitch every other row leads to a slower transition, taking it longer for the width to grow, and creating a longer shawl you can wrap in all sorts of ways. So here's a tip for that. Since you're working your increase, decrease every other row, place a marker anywhere on that side of your shawl. You're not keeping track of a specific stitch, so it doesn't matter where it goes, but it does one important thing. It tells you, hey, when you see this, you need to work an increase, decrease row. Since this shawl is worked from one side to the other, the width as you're working it is actually the length of the shawl. And in the case of this one, since it's a little shorter than normal, it leaves room for layering and wrapping, which are all great qualities to have. With this in mind, work your repeat, rows 8 and 9, to 76 stitches, ending after you've finished a 9th row. Now for the decreasing bit. In order for it to sweep down to the other side, we need to do the opposite of what we did before and lose a stitch every other row. So that requires more strategically placed increases and decreases. In this case, making 3 single crochet 2 together to start, a single crochet in every stitch to the last, and making 3 single crochets in that last stitch will give us the result we need, a net loss of 1 stitch, while keeping the same sweeping shape. You'll chain 1 and turn, and make a single crochet in every stitch. So in this section of the shawl, you'll continue to alternate this new increase-decrease row with a plain row of single crochets, and this will gradually pull the crescent in the other direction and eventually back down to 7 stitches. When you get to that point, just like we had a few rapid-fire rows to set things up at the start, we have that same thing here at the other end. So you should have 7 stitches and just finished a solid row of single crochets. And here we go. Single crochet 2 together 3 times. Make 3 single crochets in the last stitch, and we're still back loops only. Chain 1 and turn. Make a single crochet in every stitch. Chain 1 and turn. Now this time you'll single crochet 3 together, which is worked the same, you just add another stitch to the mix. And make 3 single crochets in the last stitch. Chain 1 and turn, make a single crochet in every stitch, and you should have 5 total. Now single crochet 2 together twice, and this time only make 2 single crochets in the last stitch. Chain 1 and turn, and we're down to 4 stitches now. Make a single crochet in every stitch. We're almost there. Single crochet 2 together twice. Chain 1 and turn. Single crochet in every stitch. And single crochet 2 together. Finding a happy balance between interesting but not too challenging really is the key to make sure you don't fall out of love with your project. It's the best way to stay motivated and inspired to finish what you started. Not only do I believe the shawl will keep you interested and engaged, but by the end of it, you'll have a better understanding of how increases and decreases affect shape, and that's a skill you can hold on to and apply to future projects. If you think all of this is something you can benefit from, go ahead and check out the pattern for this shawl. You can view it completely free by tapping here, or if you'd rather have a printed copy, remember I have that option for you as well. Over at this link, you can pick up the PDF from my shop. Happy hooking, and I'll see you in the next one.